Well, hey, what's up, YouTube? Pastor Matt here. Hey, I'm very excited to be reviewing this book today. This is Theoretical Practical Theology, Volume 1, Prolegomena by Petrus Van Mastricht. And I have to say, it's edited by Todd M. Rester. And the reason I have to mention the translator here is that this work has never come into the English language before, which is incredible, given that it is a highly significant Reformed theology with practical divinity aspects by a highly esteemed Dutch Reformed theologian. That would be the name on the cover, Peter Van Mastricht. Now, a lot of people know this work for one reason and one reason only. Not that they've read it before, having just come now into the English language for the very first time in history, except for some minor parts have been translated, but the most of it has not. And the reason that they've even heard of this in the first place is probably because this was the favorite systematic theology of one Jonathan Edwards. That's right. Let me turn to the back here, and I'm going to read this particular quotation from Jonathan Edwards in a letter to Joseph Bellamy, dated January 15th, 1747. He says, "As to the books you speak of, Mastricht is sometimes in one volume, a very large thick quarto, sometimes in 2 quarto volumes. I believe it could now not be had new under 8 or 10 pounds. Turretin is in 3 volumes in quarto and would probably be about the same price. They're both excellent. Turretin is on polemical divinity on the 5 points and all other controversial points, and is much larger in these than Mastricht, and better for one that desires only to be thoroughly versed in controversies. But," here we go, you ready for this? This is the famous quotation, "but take Mastricht for divinity in general, doctrine, practice, and controversy, or as a universal system of divinity, and it is much better than Turretin or any other book in the world excepting the Bible, in my opinion." So there you have it, the opinion of Jonathan Edwards, of course, a scholar that, if you know me, I highly respect and have loved Edwards' writings for years. So I'm very interested about this particular volume. Edwards gives that quotation knowing, of course, that there's many great systematic theologies already in existence in his time, including Calvin and John Owen and Turretin, things like this. But he thinks that Mastricht is the best. Now, why does he like Mastricht? Well, Mastricht does something that's really interesting in his works, and you're going to see this throughout all of the volumes of Theoretical Practical Theology, and that is he divides every single topic, every single one, into 4 broad categories. And let me give them to you very quickly. First of all, the exegetical, number 1. Whatever doctrine he's talking about, he's going to do, first of all, a passage of exegesis directly from the scriptures, so that he shows you where he's getting his theology from. Well, that's the basic premise of all good theology, isn't it? That it would be biblical. Okay. Secondly, after that, he gives the doctrinal. So he tries to show in an ordered fashion how any one particular doctrine relates to all the others. And so doctrine is, of course, the attempt to systematize these thoughts in some sort of a coherent system that all makes sense and hold together well. Third, and this word is going to be unfamiliar to some, but he gives the electic use. The electic use, you might want to look that one up. Basically, that's the polemical use or the use in argumentation. And so at this point, what Mastricht does is he responds to questions that an opponent might bring up about any given topic. So objections from opponents. And then finally, the fourth way or category in which he deals with every given topic is through the practical. And so Mastricht is very sure to give a practical exposition in the life of the minister or the Christian or the church member. So he really strives towards the practical. I think that's a very excellent and very helpful way to do theology, and I can see why Jonathan Edwards really appreciated that particular methodology. Now, so far we only have volume 1. This is the only one that's yet in English, but there are several others coming. In fact, Theoretical Practical Theology comes in 3 major parts, but those major parts are going to be broken down into, I believe, 7 volumes in the coming days. So this is going to be an addition to the Reformed library that is easily going to take its place alongside other great systematics of the past, Calvin and Turretin and others. This is from the Dutch Reformed tradition, and this is why Todd Rester gets a lot of credit here, because this is a massive work to be translating. Going to have to translate it from the Dutch and from the Latin, so it takes a specialized scholar to be able to do that, and can think of none better than Todd Rester to accomplish that goal. So, if you're interested in getting Theoretical Practical Theology Volume 1, Prolegomena, the systematic that Jonathan Edwards used and loved, I will provide a link for you in the description of this YouTube video, as I always do in all my book and Bible reviews. There's always a link to go get what I'm talking about in that particular video down in the description, so toggle down and get it. Don't forget, there's lots of other book and Bible reviews on my YouTube page. That's pretty much what I do. Books, Bibles, talk about theology. So join me in that. Read through Prolegomena. By the way, I should define that word. What is Prolegomena? Well, that's the basic foundation. So in this particular volume, we're not going to get too terribly far into systematic theology. We're going to get such basic concepts as why we should study theology, the nature of divine revelation and Holy Scripture, and things like that. So the foundational stuff. We'll get to all the other things in subsequent volumes on sin, redemption, the sacraments, ecclesiology. All that's going to be in the future volumes. But this one, Prolegomena, is just going to lay down the basic foundation. Okay? So if you're an Edwards scholar and you want to know what he was reading, here it is. You can see all the references in his blank Bible to Van Mastricht. This is the one he's talking about, and now, for the first time, we have it in the English language. Okay, that's it for me today. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Matt_Everhard. Don't forget to follow Faith Evangelical Presbyterian Church, where my preaching ministry can be found. Comments in the comments. Love you lots. Talk to you later.